What if the reason Light Yagami became a villain wasn't because of a sudden loss of morality, but because he fell in love with the feeling of being superior? It's a dangerous trap, one that many fall into without realizing it. Light wasn't born a monster, nor did he lose his way overnight. His downfall started slowly, creeping in like a shadow, feeding off his need for control, recognition, and a sense of power that he never had before. At first, Light wanted to change the world, to rid it of crime and corruption, but somewhere along the way, the desire for justice became twisted. It wasn't about making the world a better place anymore, it was about him feeling superior. Imagine living in a world where you are constantly told you're the smartest person in the room, where you are praised for your abilities. Over time, that praise becomes more than just words. It becomes a drug. And once you taste it, you crave it more. Light's transformation didn't happen overnight, it wasn't some moment of clarity where he suddenly decided to be evil. No, it was the gradual shift that happens when a person gets hooked on the feeling of superiority. It's a defense mechanism, a way to protect oneself from feeling insignificant, from feeling like the world is too big and too chaotic to control. At first, it's just a small step. A decision that feels justified. Maybe one less crime, maybe one more victim for the greater good. But then the line starts to blur. Each step down this path feels right at the moment, until suddenly you realize you've crossed a line you can't return from. That's the defense mechanism Light used. He justified every action with a reason. He convinced himself that he was the only one who could see the world clearly, the only one who could fix the chaos. But deep down, a conflict began to grow. The person who started as a hero, fighting for justice, slowly started to question whether he was doing the right thing. He wasn't just playing God anymore, he was becoming God, and the weight of that responsibility started to weigh on him. That's the inner conflict of Light Yagami. He wanted to be the savior of the world, but the more power he gained, the more his sense of morality shifted. He was no longer working towards a noble goal, but was now obsessed with the power that came with it. And that's when the trigger happened. The moment when Light fully embraced his new identity as the one who decides who lives and who dies. The breakdown wasn't sudden, it was the accumulation of small choices, each one leading to the next. As Light began to justify his actions, he lost sight of the very ideals he once believed in. The consequence of this breakdown was clear: he was no longer a hero, but a tyrant in his own mind, believing that his superiority gave him the right to rule the world. But here's the thing, he didn't realize that the very thing he craved, the thing he thought would bring him fulfillment, was actually destroying him from the inside. That's where the emotional bridge comes in. Everyone can relate to that feeling of wanting to be seen, of wanting to be important. We all want to matter, to feel that we have control over our lives. But what happens when the pursuit of that power leads us down a path we can't escape? What happens when we lose sight of who we are in the process? Light's story is a warning, a reflection of our own desires for recognition and control. So, here's a question for you: have you ever fallen in love with the feeling of being superior? And if so, at what cost? Light Yagami's journey is not just a tale of ambition or power, it is a story of deep inner conflict, one that emerges from a fundamental fear. This fear is not of failure, but of being insignificant. From the start, Light had always been told he was different. His intelligence, his ideals, and his view of the world made him feel superior to those around him. But beneath this self-assurance lay a deep fear, the fear of being just like everyone else. What Light feared most was the idea that he could fade into obscurity, that his life would amount to nothing. He was haunted by the idea that despite his talents, his potential would be wasted. And so, when he discovered the Death Note, he did not see it as just a tool for justice, he saw it as the key to transcending his humanity, to becoming something more than ordinary. This fear of insignificance is what drove him to take the first step on his dark path. It wasn't about right or wrong, it was about being ***. Light needed to prove that he was more than just another person in the crowd. As he continued to use the Death Note, his actions were justified in his mind by the belief that he was bringing order to a chaotic world. But what Light didn't realize was that his desire to be something more than human was leading him to lose his humanity altogether. The more power he gained, the more disconnected he became from the world around him. His fear of being insignificant was replaced by a new fear, the fear of *** losing control ***. Every decision he made, every life he took, was not only about ridding the world of crime, but about solidifying his place at the top. The Death Note became his only means of asserting his worth, a tool not just for justice, but for *** validation ***. Over time, this validation began to consume him. Light, once a person who sought to create a better world, was now obsessed with his own image. He began to see himself as the only one capable of making the world right, the only one worthy of wielding such power. But as the Death Note gave him more power, it also took more of him. His connections with others began to erode. He pushed away friends, family, and anyone who could challenge his view of himself. His relationships, once important, became mere tools to further his agenda. This gradual breakdown of his connections was not just the result of his actions, but a *** defense mechanism ***. Light, in his pursuit of superiority, built walls around himself. He justified his isolation by convincing himself that others simply didn't understand the burden he bore. The more isolated he became, the more his *** ego *** expanded. And that's where his breakdown truly began, not from the outside world, but from within. His mind, once sharp and focused, began to twist under the weight of his own thoughts. The fear of being insignificant evolved into the fear of being vulnerable. The *** defense mechanism *** of control became his *** obsession *** as the *** inner conflict *** grew between the image of himself he had created and the person he was becoming. In the end, Light's story is a tragedy of the human psyche. It shows the *** danger of letting fear dictate our actions ***. When the desire to be superior becomes more important than the desire to be good, it leads to a loss of self. The fear of insignificance can drive us to do extraordinary things, but at what cost? Light's downfall is not just a consequence of his actions, but a reflection of the internal battles we all face. The *** fear of not being enough *** is a powerful force, and when we let it dictate our choices, it can tear us apart from the inside out. Light Yagami's internal conflict grows more intense as his journey progresses, revealing a complex psychological battle between his desires, his ideals, and the unmet needs that drive him. At the heart of his transformation lies a deep, unresolved tension within himself. This tension is rooted in his need for *** self-actualization ***, as described in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and his inability to fulfill it in healthy ways. Initially, Light's actions seem to be motivated by his desire to create a better world, to rid society of its criminals and corruption. However, this noble goal is built on a more profound, *** unmet psychological need ***, the need to prove his worth and achieve a sense of superiority. Light's intelligence and sense of justice are undeniable, but underneath these traits, he carries a heavy burden, a need for recognition and significance. His *** need for esteem ***, a fundamental component of Maslow's hierarchy, remains unfulfilled. Growing up, Light was likely surrounded by expectations of greatness, and yet, he never felt fully acknowledged or appreciated for his abilities. He wanted more than just intellectual recognition. He wanted the world to acknowledge him as someone who could change it, someone who could define his own legacy. This internal conflict between ***, his intellectual capacity ***, and ***, his emotional needs ***, sets the stage for his eventual fall from grace. As Light begins to wield the power of the Death Note, the very thing he desired, control, recognition, and superiority, seems to finally be within his reach. But this is where the contradiction deepens. Despite the growing sense of control and validation, Light's *** unmet emotional needs *** only intensify. The more power he gains, the more disconnected he becomes from others, even from those he once cared about. His need for *** love and belonging *** goes unmet, and his relationships with his family and close friends deteriorate. He isolates himself, thinking that he can only rely on his intellect and his own vision of justice. This isolation, combined with the lack of emotional fulfillment, creates an *** inner turmoil ***. Light starts to question whether the power he's accumulated is truly satisfying or if it's just a facade masking a deeper, more profound emptiness. This emptiness is a result of his inability to address the core emotional needs that drive his actions. He becomes obsessed with controlling the world, but he loses sight of the human connections that give life meaning. The more isolated Light becomes, the more he tries to justify his actions, and the further he drifts from his original ideals. At the same time, his fear of vulnerability grows. Light's defense mechanisms take over. He refuses to acknowledge any weakness, any doubt. His actions become increasingly erratic as he clings to his belief that he alone has the answer to the world's problems. He's locked in a psychological spiral, where the need for control feeds his sense of superiority, but it also deepens his isolation and internal strife. What's truly tragic about Light's internal conflict is that he never addresses the unmet emotional needs at the core of his pain. Instead of seeking real human connection or accepting his vulnerabilities, he dives deeper into a world of power and isolation, further alienating himself from the very things that could heal him. In the end, his inability to meet these emotional needs leads to a personal breakdown not just in the physical world, but within his psyche. The fear of being insignificant, the fear of being emotionally vulnerable, and the need for superiority all collide, leaving Light trapped in a cycle of ever-deepening conflict. His journey, then, is not just about power, it is a struggle with the parts of himself he refuses to confront, and a journey towards an emotional void that he cannot fill. Light Yagami's psychological turning point occurs when his need for control and his desire to prove his superiority clash with the reality of the world around him. The trigger for this shift comes not from a single event, but from the cumulative effects of his actions and the realization that, despite all his power, he is still not immune to the unpredictable nature of human beings. Up until this point, Light has been in control. His meticulous plans, his intelligence, and the power of the Death Note gave him a sense of certainty. He believed he could shape the world according to his vision. That he was the only one capable of bringing true justice. But as his influence grows, so does the resistance against him. This resistance doesn't come in the form of violence or direct opposition, but from the simple fact that human beings, both those he wants to control and those who stand against him, are unpredictable. The turning point for Light happens when he is confronted with the reality that, despite his genius, he cannot control everything. The introduction of L, an equally brilliant but vastly different person, represents the first real challenge to Light's sense of control. L's unorthodox methods, his instinctive understanding of Light's mind, and his ability to stay one step ahead begin to crack the illusion of infallibility that Light has built around himself. For the first time, Light is forced to confront the idea that he is not invincible, that his intellect and his power have limits. This moment is crucial because it forces Light to reckon with a fundamental truth, his belief in his superiority, his belief that he could outthink everyone and control everything, is not as secure as he thought. He begins to lose his grip on the very thing that has defined him, his control over the world. This trigger forces Light to confront the reality that he is not immune to failure, and this realization ignites a new layer of fear within him. It's not just the fear of losing his power, it's the fear of being outsmarted, of being exposed as human. The fear of vulnerability that he had been running from throughout his entire journey becomes real, and the cracks in his psyche start to widen. This is the point where Light's defense mechanisms become even more pronounced. He begins to take greater risks, making decisions that are increasingly erratic and desperate, driven by a need to prove that he can still control the outcome. The shift in Light's psychological state is significant. His internal world, which was once centered around a clear goal of achieving justice, now becomes a battleground between his need for control and his fear of failure. His actions become less about the world he wanted to create and more about his need to win, to outsmart L and prove that he is superior, not just in intellect but in every aspect of his existence. This trigger moment in Light's journey is not just about an external confrontation. With L, it is about the internal conflict that arises when Light's carefully constructed reality starts to crumble. The realization that he is not untouchable forces him to reckon with the darkest aspects of his own psyche, and the fear that comes with this realization leads him down a path from which there may be no return. Light Yagami's psychological transformation reaches its peak when his carefully constructed identity begins to unravel. Up until now, Light has been driven by a clear sense of purpose, a vision of a world he believes he can control and reshape. But as the pressure mounts and his opposition intensifies, particularly from L, the illusion of invincibility he has built around himself begins to crack. This is where his psychological breakdown begins. The first sign of Light's unraveling is his increasing desperation. Faced with L's relentless pursuit and the realization that his intellectual superiority may not be enough to guarantee his success, Light begins to make increasingly irrational decisions. His once calm and calculated demeanor starts to slip as fear and paranoia seep into his thoughts. He begins to question his every move, seeing enemies in places where there are none, and fearing betrayal from those he once trusted. The sense of control he once had begins to slip away, and with it, his sense of self. At this point, Light's defense mechanisms become more pronounced. Where once he was able to justify his actions with a clear rationale, he was bringing justice to the world, he now begins to rationalize them out of sheer necessity. It's no longer about the greater good or his lofty ideals. It's about winning about proving to himself and everyone around him that he is still the one in control. This desperation leads him to make more impulsive and reckless choices, further distancing him from his original moral compass. The breakdown is not just intellectual, it is emotional and psychological. Light, who once believed he was in control of his destiny, is now spiraling, unable to reconcile the person he once was with the monster he has become. His fear of failure, the very thing he tried to avoid by gaining control, becomes the force that drives him further into a state of denial. He refuses to accept that he is losing, that he is vulnerable. His ego, which once made him feel superior, now isolates him even further. He pushes away everyone who could challenge him, further reinforcing the walls around himself. As his isolation grows, so does his paranoia. He begins to trust no one, believing that even those closest to him are potential threats. His world becomes a prison, not of physical bars, but of his own making, built from fear, control, and the overwhelming need to maintain a sense of power. This fear of vulnerability, of being exposed as human and fallible, is what truly seals his fate. The more Light tries to cling to his power and control, the more it slips from his grasp. His breakdown becomes complete when he realizes that the very thing he thought would set him apart, his intellectual superiority, has now become his greatest weakness. In his quest to control the world, he has lost control of himself. The psychological transformation from a confident, idealistic young man to a desperate, paranoid figure is a tragic one. Light's obsession with power, his need to be superior, and his refusal to accept his own humanity have led him down a path of no return. His mind, once sharp and focused, has become a prison of its own making, trapped by his fears and his ego. The internal breakdown is complete. Light is no longer the hero he once saw himself as, but a man consumed by the very darkness he sought to eliminate. The long-term psychological consequences of Light Yagami's actions are devastating, not just for the world he sought to control, but for his own mind. Throughout his journey, Light has sacrificed his humanity in the pursuit of power and control, and in the end, that very sacrifice becomes his undoing. The consequences of his choices extend far beyond the immediate impact of his actions. They have created a deeply ingrained psychological fracture that defines the rest of his life. Initially, Light was driven by a sense of righteousness and a desire to bring order to the world. However, as his journey unfolded, the emotional and psychological toll of his decisions began to build. The more power he gained, the more detached he became from the reality of human suffering and connection. His obsession with control not only isolated him from others but also made him blind to the fact that he was losing touch with the very ideals he once held dear. This loss of self-awareness and moral clarity leads to a profound sense of psychological fragmentation. As Light continues down his path, he becomes increasingly paranoid and distrustful, unable to form meaningful relationships with anyone. He sees betrayal everywhere and begins to view even those closest to him as potential threats. This constant state of hypervigilance** takes a severe toll on his mental well-being, leaving him isolated in a prison of his own making. The need for control, once a tool for achieving his grand vision, has now become an obsession that consumes him. Light no longer has the capacity to trust others, and his increasing reliance on manipulation and deceit further drives him away from the person he once was. The psychological damage he has inflicted upon himself is not just a temporary state, it is a long-term consequence of his refusal to confront his vulnerabilities. The more he clings to the belief that he is superior, the more the cracks in his psyche widen. His desire for recognition and validation leads him to make decisions that only reinforce his isolation. He becomes so fixated on his image as a godlike figure that he loses all sense of the human connections that once gave him meaning. The internal conflict that plagued Light throughout his journey reaches its tragic conclusion when he realizes that the power he so desperately sought has left him emotionally barren. The emotional void he created by distancing himself from others cannot be filled by further victories or by continuing to control the world. Light's ultimate downfall is not just a result of external forces, but a consequence of his own psyche's inability to reconcile the person he once was with the monster he became. The long-term psychological impact of his decisions is one of profound loneliness and despair. The more he seeks to dominate, the more he loses touch with the very aspects of life that make it worth living: love, connection, and self-awareness. In the end, Light is left with nothing but the emptiness of his own mind, a mind so consumed by fear, control, and superiority that it has lost sight of what truly matters. His descent into madness is a direct result of the choices he made, and the psychological consequences of his actions are irreversible. The tragedy of Light Yagami's story lies not only in the world he failed to change, but in the life he ultimately destroyed, his own. Light Yagami's journey is not just about the rise and fall of a man with power, it's about the emotional toll that comes with the desire for control and recognition. At the core of his transformation lies a deep sense of abandonment loneliness and the overwhelming feeling of being misunderstood . These emotions are not just external, they are deeply ingrained in Light's psyche and fuel his actions throughout his journey. Light's initial desire to change the world was rooted in a need to feel significant, to prove that he could make a difference. But underlying that need was a more painful truth: Light felt abandoned. Not just abandoned by society, but abandoned by those who should have understood him most. His family, although they loved him, did not share his ideals or see the world the way he did. This led Light to feel isolated, unable to connect with anyone who truly understood the depth of his vision. As he uses the Death Note and starts reshaping the world around him, his sense of loneliness grows even more pronounced. The very actions that were meant to bring him closer to his goal only serve to drive him further from the people who care about him. His relationship with his family deteriorates, and even his interactions with colleagues become strained. Light is no longer just fighting for justice, he is fighting to prove to the world that he is worthy of attention and validation . But as his power grows, so does the emotional distance between him and everyone around him. He isolates himself, not because he wants to, but because he feels that no one can possibly understand the weight of the burden he's carrying. The more he achieves, the more misunderstood he becomes. He is convinced that he alone can see the world clearly, but in doing so, he pushes away the very people who could offer him support and understanding. Light's emotional isolation mirrors the loneliness that many people feel when they believe they are destined for greatness but cannot find anyone to share that vision with. It's a feeling of walking through life alone, disconnected from the rest of humanity. The people around him begin to see Light as a cold, calculating figure, and he begins to see them as obstacles to his grand design. His desire to be understood, to be seen as something more than human, becomes his curse. In the end, Light's loneliness is not just a consequence of his actions, it is a reflection of his deepest fear, that he will never be truly understood, that his brilliance will always be out of reach for others to comprehend. This abandonment and misunderstanding that Light experiences may feel familiar to many of us. The desire to be seen, to have our thoughts and feelings understood, is a universal human need. But in Light's case, this need grew into something toxic. His fear of being forgotten of not being acknowledged for his potential, consumed him to the point where he pushed everyone away, trapping himself in a prison of his own making. His journey is a tragic reminder of the dangers of isolation and the emotional cost of seeking control at the expense of human connection. Light Yagami's psychological state takes a darker turn as he falls deeper into solitude and emotional emptiness What began as a quest for justice soon transforms into a relentless pursuit of superiority but as Light gains more power, he loses the very thing that made him human, his connection to others. The more he isolates himself from his family, friends, and even his allies, the more the void within him grows. The Death Note, once a tool for bringing order to a chaotic world, becomes the mechanism by which he alienates himself further. He isolates not only those around him but also himself. The more he tries to control the world, the more disconnected he becomes from reality. At the peak of his power, Light stands alone, surrounded by nothing but his own thoughts, a man trapped in a prison of his own making. His mind, once sharp and filled with grand ideals, becomes clouded by the weight of his actions and the realization that nothing he achieves brings him the fulfillment he sought. The emptiness inside him expands, and the loneliness becomes palpable. He has no one to share his victories with, no one to reassure him that what he's doing is worthwhile. The world he's trying to reshape is a reflection of his internal world, cold, isolated, and lacking connection. Despite all his intellectual brilliance and the power he holds, Light is left to face the brutal truth that he cannot escape his inner emptiness. He is not the god he envisioned, instead, he is a man, alone and lost. The more he climbs, the further he drifts from the things that once gave him purpose. In his obsession with being superior, Light has pushed away every person who could have provided him with the human connection he craves. His family sees him as a stranger, his allies are wary of him, and his enemies are too focused on their own survival to understand him. He is a figure of tremendous power but devoid of the one thing that would have made his life meaningful: love, empathy, and the ability to connect with others on a human level. What's worse, Light's descent into emptiness is self-perpetuating. The more he tries to fill the void with his ambition and his need for control, the more it grows. His actions, driven by a fear of vulnerability and an unrelenting need to prove his worth, only deepen his loneliness. He begins to believe that his superiority places him above the need for human relationships, yet paradoxically, these very relationships are the one thing that could have saved him from his own despair. In the end, Light is not just defeated by his external enemies, but by the psychological emptiness that he cultivated within himself. The solitude he sought to embrace as a sign of strength becomes his greatest weakness, and the inner void he created cannot be filled by any amount of power or success. His journey is a tragic exploration of the human need for connection, and the destructive consequences of neglecting that need in favor of control and superiority. Light's story is a reminder that no matter how powerful we become, we cannot escape the emptiness that comes with being disconnected from the very essence of what makes us human. Light Yagami's journey, from the idealistic young man with the power to change the world, to the isolated figure trapped in his own mind, is a tragic one. His rise to power was fueled by a sense of justice, a desire to rid the world of corruption. But as he gained control, something crucial was lost: his ability to empathize with others, to connect with those he sought to protect. The pursuit of power, for Light, became an obsession, not just to change the world, but to prove his superiority. He convinced himself that he was above everyone else, that his intellect gave him the right to decide who should live and who should die. In doing so, Light isolated himself from humanity, creating an emotional distance that would become his greatest downfall. He pushed away his family, his friends, and even those who could have challenged his beliefs, all in the name of achieving his ideal world. But the more Light tried to control the world around him, the more disconnected he became from the very essence of what made him human. His need for validation, his craving for recognition, grew as his power expanded, but with each victory, his sense of self eroded. The emptiness within him, once concealed by his ambition, began to surface. This emptiness, this void, is what ultimately consumed him. Power, in its purest form, could not fill the hole in Light's heart. In the end, the world he sought to control became a reflection of his internal struggle, cold, isolated, and devoid of the warmth that human connection offers. His downfall was not just a result of external forces, but the inevitable consequence of his internal disconnect. Light's psychological journey is a stark reminder of the dangers of losing sight of one's humanity in the pursuit of power. It is a cautionary tale of how the need for control, when unchecked, can lead to a profound sense of loneliness and emptiness. The more Light tried to prove his superiority, the more he became the very thing he sought to destroy, a tyrant, isolated and consumed by his own ideals. In the end, Light's story leaves us with a powerful question: what is the cost of seeking control, and at what point does the pursuit of power strip us of our humanity?